Hello, and welcome to episode 76 of FPL Apprentice. And it's one of my favourite weeks of the season. It's free hit time. And I'm joined, as always, by the former world number one and recently in the top five FPL point scorer of the last decade. It's Mr. Matthew Corbridge. Matt, how are you?
Oh, mate, yeah, very good. Very good yourself.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. And I don't know whether you've seen the score, but I've probably texted you about it a few times. I'm feeling good for the first time in about half a season.
You're feeling warm and fuzzy. Yeah, me not so much, hence why I wasn't responding to your texts. Uh,
Yeah, it's fair enough. Okay.
but
Yeah, I think
yeah, it will be revealed. But yeah, I think yeah, a bit of a mood shift for both of us, I think.
yeah, the thing that what 1 week can do. You did get a green arrow though, spoilers. So at least
Oh,
it wasn't
brilliant.
all bad. I'm just trying to make you feel better. I don't think it's working.
Oh, mate, it's all good. But yeah, we've got some time to kind of reflect, talk about our forward plans, and yeah, talk about where it went all right and where it maybe went wrong as well. So come on, mate. Let's go
Yeah,
straight into it. What have we got? What have we got
straight
planned?
in. Straight in. And also, obviously, what most people are here for, your free hit team. That will be covered, as well as a Game Week 33 review, Game Week 34 captain, and then just Matt versus Dave. Quite light today, but plenty to discuss, especially around those free hit bits. But yeah, I think as for the Game Week 23 review, I think we decided I'll start this week.
Oof,
Um,
wow.
very happy. Very, very happy. Game week 33 managed to get 98 points, so a game week rank of just under 110,000. My best game week since I did write it down, game week 17. So half a season ago. So a very good rank for me. Transfers, just to cover them off. I did Gabriel to Kiwior, if that's how it's pronounced. He ended up getting me 13 points. Obviously, Gabriel wouldn't have got me anything, so there's plus 13. I did Nick Pope to Henderson. That was 10 points instead of two, so there is an 8 points difference. And then the big one for me was Semenyo out, who got three, and I bought in Embuemo. So bit of a weird decision with him only having a single game week, but my thoughts behind it, just to cover them off, I kind of sat and thought there's no real other attacking option. The only team I don't have three of for the double game week is Villa, and I
Mm.
wasn't completely sure on Rashford's minutes, thinking Watkins might get some game time. I didn't trust Asensio. So I looked ahead and thought, who's got a game this week that I like? And who do I want for the rest of the season? Let's bring somebody in. And then Buemo was the man. He had Brighton. I don't trust the Brighton defence at all. Just seemed like the sort of game he could come in and smash a load of points. And that he did, got 18. So I was 15 points off up there. So in total, mate, probably the reason it was such a good game week, but transfers gained me 36 points.
Oof.
So yeah, can't complain with those sort of returns. Big pros, double city defence has continued to do me well. I've had three clean sheets in the last five. So Ruben Diaz and Gvardiol getting 9 points and 7 points in the bag. The Embuemo move obviously came in. I just thought he would do well. And I'm put it in as a pro. Obviously, my captain didn't do anything, right? Saka got 2 points. If I'd have
Mm.
captained Marmouth, I'd have ended up in Century Club and on
Yeah.
100. But I got away with it. Salah didn't do anything. Marmoush didn't do anything. So as much as my captain choice was technically wrong, and I should have went for Marmoush, uh, it did. I got away with one, as a lot of Saka captainers did. Unfortunately for me, Dan Burn got an own goal, so there was -2. Meant my bench boost hasn't done that well. I've ended up getting a net of 13 points on my bench. For a bench boost, I'd like more. I'd like
Mm.
maybe 20. I mean, 20 might be getting greedy, but I'd like a bit more than 13. Sort of late teens would have been good, but not horrific. But yeah, a good green overall. Jumped from 272,000 up to 151k. So a big green for me, nearly half of my rank, and it's been four green arrows since game week 30, which is when I did my wild card. Rest of the team, not much to talk through. A lot of people have Rodgers, 7 points for him. Mateta came off the bench and scored an absolute wonder goal. So he pulled in. You know what I didn't get about that, mate? He'd been on the pitch for 4 minutes. He'd had that shot, it went in,
Yeah.
and he was on for three bonus straight away. Don't understand how they work them out, but there you go. He ended up with the 3 bonus as well, so that was good. And then Raya and Kiwior got a clean sheet as well as Henderson over their doubles. So yeah, happy mate, happy. In terms of should I have bench boosted or should I have done the assistant managership 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Absolutely got away with one. So Glasner over the 3 game weeks has combined an 8 points to 2 points. He then got a 0 against Newcastle. He then got a 5 for his draw, and then he got 10 yesterday. So he got 25 points over the 3 game weeks. Now, the bench boost has only got me 13, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. What I'm looking at is if I had Glasner, I couldn't have had Henderson. I'd have ended up with Nick Pope, right? So that 12 points difference, all of a sudden, I'd have been Pope or Martinez. And say Martinez, that 12 points difference comes down to 6 points. I'd have been net up with Glasner as my assistant manager. I wouldn't have been able to afford Embuemo, mate, because I've got 2.2 million in my bank. So if I had Glasner, I wouldn't have been able to afford him. I'd have ended up with Semenyo, who got 3 points. So all of a sudden, playing the bench boost, I'm 9 points better off. That said, it all depends on how my bench boost does. I would have done in 36 and how my assistant manager does when I play it. But I've ended up throw 9 points.
No, it's looking like you've made the right decision around that way, which looking pretty
Oh, my
pretty
camera's
rosy
gone.
now.
On the slant. On
Yeah.
the slant. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm not. There you go. I'm back. I'm back. I was just doing a bit of hip hop from the 90s with the sideways thing. Show me age. But yeah, I do feel I've got away with it a little bit because it could have quite easily gone the other way, especially when City went to Palace went 2-0 up at City. I thought, here's a panic. And then they nearly won yesterday. That's Sarr chance right at the death, and that would have been a
Yeah,
major point
exactly.
return for Glasner. But yeah, I've got away with it. I've been texting you for weeks. I hate FPL. What a difference a week makes. I'm back involved. I've got, what is it, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 5 game weeks left, and I'm going to be playing a chip in 4 of them. So I'm quite excited to see what I can do. Now I'm at 151, mate, so I want to get top 100k.
Yeah, I was
Especially
gonna
as
say,
I'll be playing.
what's your target?
I've
So
got
100K, yeah.
100k. With the fact I've got 4 game weeks of chips, and most people will have 1. I'm hopeful I'll break the top 100.
Yeah, surely 50K is your target, right?
I mean, I'd love it. I would love it, but if I can break 100, no, it was only last season the first time in my 12 years of playing, I was in the top 100,000 for a second season running. So if I can now do it 3 on the back, I'll be very happy with that. But yeah, top 50k would be a dream. Top 10k, why not? Like top 1,000. I've got the assistant manager chip. Let's see what happens.
No, actually, it
But I've
could be
rambled a lot.
radically different, right? You could be seeing like a 60-point game.
Yeah. It's so we'll see what happens with it. But I've rambled a lot, mate. Feel free to give your views.
No, me, it's good to see the energy. I can feel and hear and see the energy, which is nice that's back. No, kind of hats off to you, really. I think you covered all the things I was going to ask. Is any regrets of bench boost versus the assistant manager route? It looks like you've come out tops on that. But you got to be quite happy with your bench boost, relatively speaking. I think this year the numbers have been very low, so I think Henderson has really come through for you there. And then I was going to ask, were there any doubts around bringing in Mbumo for Semenyo as a single game week player? But as you said, there wasn't a huge host of alternatives. Maybe Rashford would be the only player that you would have considered, really. But I think obviously Mbumo came forward, and he's going to sit well in your team now for the rest of the season.
He's going.
I'm
Going nowhere.
I'm guessing you didn't have much dilemma there.
No, he's in for the rest of the season. As soon as I realised I could just about squeeze him in, 0.2 left in the bank, as I say, I was like, he's going to be the guy. If I don't get him now for this game, why wait until week 35? I may as well get him now for that nice Brighton game. I fancied him to do better than Semenyo away at Palace. So yeah, I just thought I'll go early before the people jump on him.
Yeah, no, nice. And then you're looking pretty. The structure looks quite good as well, with Diaz and Vardy always like setting for get defenders. Man City have a really nice run for the rest of the year and like nothing to play for other than top four, right? So
Yeah.
I think you've probably got the three best City players there, which is like a nice place to be. Yeah, and the structure of the rest of the squad looks good as well. So yeah, you've got to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, shame none of this team will be playing this weekend. That's the only downside to it, but that's what free hits are for, right?
No, exactly.
But yeah, not complaining, mate. Not complaining. So yeah, let's move on to your team.
Cool. Well, I think in contrast, I've got a lot to complain about. Yeah, I honestly think the game week 33 this year has probably been, I'd say, the single most disappointing or toughest, whatever way you want to describe it, kind of game week I've had probably in like 2 years, right? It's incredibly annoying and disappointing. Despite that, I did get a small green arrow of 13k,
Yeah,
so I moved up to 129,000 kind of overall rank. I think where I am at the moment with only one chip remaining, I think my target is just within the top 100k. But yeah, really, I want to make sure I don't get my worst finish ever. My worst finish ever was last year of 115k. So still got a few
put that into
places.
context before you carry on, mate. Right? How many years this is your 10th season?
I think when was my first year? I can tell you now, 2014, 2015. So this will be 11th season.
11th season. You've only ever finished outside the top. Well, in fact, let's put it right. You've only ever finished outside the top 30k once.
Yeah. Oh, well, top
That's
20 as well.
incredible.
Yeah.
That is
Well,
incredible
I'm
stats.
getting progressively worse now. But yeah, I think this was the week in terms of I could make some like major ground up. Unfortunately, I didn't. So yeah, I think kind of like realistic target now is try and like avoid getting my worst rank ever, which I think I should be able to do, but it's not looking good based on chips. It's not looking good on team structure and whatnot. But yeah, incredibly frustrating kind of thing. So I had 75 points overall, 1.5 million game week rank. Green arrow, but I think there's a few circumstances that were annoying, and I think yeah, I'll talk about like some of the structural issues and decisions I've made that contribute towards this and areas that I think I got a bit unfortunate. So yeah, first bit that was frustrating was the bench, right? So I think good bench boost we've kind of touched on it. 15, 16 points is par or good, and anything above that is great. Anything lower than that is bad. Single figures is very poor, right? So I got 8 points. It's average 2 per person, with Ariola getting 3, Consa getting 3, Livermento 0, Isak 2. That Newcastle Villa game was like
Yeah,
a real killer. That was like the worst possible result because Consa didn't get a return. Obviously, Isak didn't get an attacking return when like you think a goal involvement for Newcastle is probably 50% plus. Livermento obviously got 0 points, given they got so hammered. And then they really got what you're looking for on a bench boost is like one return, and then it kind of looks good. And like Ariola, I think up until the 93rd minute was on for 10 points. He was on for a clean sheet and bonus. So that swing kind of like was hard to take. And I think he had like very low expected goals conceded. So that was a killer. So yeah, 8 points on the bench boost is tough in isolation, but also it's the kind of moves you make to kind of like try and enable a bench boost, which makes it tough as well. Like there's a lot of transfers moved and sacrifices in weeks ahead of it and afterwards. So yeah, that was incredibly frustrating. But it was really that Southampton goal versus West Ham that was the killer. I'd be kind of cool if like Ario got his 10 points. I'd be sitting on 15 for a bench boost, which I would say is about par. I think yeah, generally with a player of Isak's quality, Consul with a double, Ariola against Southampton, I think getting 15, 16 points would have been achievable. But hey, that was super frustrating. Now the other bit that was really frustrating was the Saka decision. Now, this was one that was like kind of luck thing. So I think people went, and some people triple captain Saka, which must be incredibly frustrating. Think of
yeah.
that swing of people who went from Salah, like was a common captain, triple captain, to Isak last week. Quite a few people triple captain him, including myself. And then to Saka getting, what did he get? 2 points times 3, 6
Two.
points, right? Which is kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like crazy those swings there. So yeah, I think going in, like people would pick either Saka or Marmoush. I think it was a minutes call. I thought Saka was going to play all the minutes because I was just thinking like there's a thing of like over resting your teams and getting momentum right when you're late in competition. So I think there's plenty of rest now between Premier League and Champions League. Right, I was thinking like as long as
This
the
is it.
league is as long as the
It's
league
a week.
is yeah, it's a week, right? So as long as the league is still open, and even if so, you don't just like have people resting for 2 weeks and losing all kind of like momentum, right? So I was going to predict Saka was going to play both games. Lo and behold, he did start, and then obviously like what 30 minutes in, he got kind of just like
Yeah.
I don't know, assaulted, whatever you want to call it, right? Kind of like really kind of like nasty foul. Within that period of playing, you got a sub 54 minutes. You don't even get the appearance or clean sheet bonus,
Yeah.
which that would have been nice. That would have made a difference, right? Like as a captain. But when it was like, and it was pretty much he was active for 40 minutes. After that, he was just like not really there. He accumulated like what 1.5 goal involvement, right? Just within that tiny period. He always got subbed early, and then I'm pretty sure you would have started the second game against Palace as well, because again, the league hadn't been wrapped up by then, and also all the other starters were playing, right?
Yeah.
Rice played, Saliba played, Raya played, right? Marino, I think, it wasn't in the squad, so he had like an injury or whatnot as his partay. But other than those guys, it was the starting lineup for Arsenal. Timber played, right? So I'm pretty sure Saka would have played if he hadn't been injured in that previous kind of match and had to come off early. So yeah, that's incredibly. He looked good when he came on as well. He got some decent stats.
I know it's good. Henderson made a good save from him.
Exactly. So I think, yeah, Saka was the right call going in, and he was the right call whilst looking at goal, like game involvement. Like it was just very unfortunate he didn't get any returns in the small amount of minutes he did get, and then it's super unfortunate he got injured. Right. So that was kind of really frustrating, right? Because I think that was a call that went against the crowd, like, and I was really thinking it was the right one. So that was super annoying. Yeah, the rest of my squads, I've spoken about the bench boost and whatnot. I spoke about Saka, which was the kind of two main things that were really frustrating. I guess the rest of the squad, my transfers were up, right? So I used free transfers coming into this. I moved Palmer to Rogers. Fine, net up on that, and that was quite an obvious move to make. Gabriel to Kiwi, or like a lot of people did. So obviously happy with a clean sheet and an attacking return. Delighted with that. So I'm up on that. And then my final move was Saka. Yeah, Saka for Murphy, which I think the thought process there was right, I guess. And I think obviously we can
Match
be
points.
biased. We both did it, but like I think it was the right decision going in. You can't talk about hindsight that he got injured after starting.
Yeah.
But like,
I'm happy he didn't get a return. So it's you've not lost out in that
no,
sense.
well, I've used three transfers now. I've like
Yeah.
snooped myself a little bit, so I think that's a bit of frustration there. But like, the transfers are up, but they were all pretty obvious ones to make. I think more structurally how I set my team up, it's been a bit of frustration. Now I've seen the ramifications, right? So I think really good example there is Savinho, which was always a punt. So he he got 3 points, right? So from like that's just kind of one start, and then was just a kind of sub the second game. Given the wealth of options City have got there, I think that was always a kind of risk, and really Diaz and Gvardiol given City's the nailedness and the City's defensive stats coming in to this kind of period. That was always the right move structurally. So I think you're far better set up than me, for example, and you've had the kind of points. So I think that was a bit of a thing I could have avoided. And literally, like if I if I didn't have Savinho, I could have still had like some of my good single game week players there, really. So that was a structural issue with my team for sure. I think more generally, like it was like really trying to. I've made an approach where I want to try and squeeze as many double game week players as I could for my squad for this bench boost. So that's why bench boost it can cloud your judgment a little bit, and it's always risky when you've got a few weeks between when you play a wild card and you're setting up for a bench boost, right? Because I was thinking, oh yeah, I'll try and pack my team for a double game weeks, and I ignored against better judgment, keeping some great players. They've had good fixtures coming in and had a good single game week fixture here. I would have been better keeping them. So I've been a bit foolish in terms of my moves, right? So a really good example of that would be I had like Bowen and Bumo in my team, right? So really nice runs. They both had attacking returns this week. They also have had attacking returns coming up to game week 33. But my judgment was clouded that hey, they don't have a double. I need to get rid of them as a bit more of an expensive midfielder. I could have quite easily kept them, and my squad would look a lot better in terms of structure. So yeah, looking at my team structure, I think the ones that I'm kind of really kicking myself about going Savinho. And then more generally, just like kind of trying to squeeze too many double game week players into my squad. Obviously, if I kept them Bumo or Bowen, I would have had to make sacrifices elsewhere, but I would have had a far more flexible squad. So, yeah, disappointing week, mainly because of the bench boost fail and yeah, the Saka fail. But like, kind of also the week kind of did kind of like unveil quite a few structural issues that I've made, like since game week 30, just like getting the wrong City picks and then also just like going too hard on the double itself. And it was we always knew coming in it was going to be a weak double as well. There weren't
We do it. We do it as FPL players. We get suckered in every season, and every season something happens, and we're like, "Oh, we won't do that next season." Where we just concentrate on the doubles, and then we do.
Well, I think yeah, focus on doubles is a good thing, and it's proved quite good. Like Mateta and Rogers, for example, have done nothing and come out with some decent returns. Kiwi always got 13 points, so let's remember. But it's the right players from the right teams, right? If you're putting in shit players like Savinho, right, or players with bad fixtures like Consa, right, then it's not going to necessarily pay off, right? And I think the fixtures weren't great. The fixtures the teams that had doubles didn't necessarily have great fixtures in and around them, right? So yeah, I think it was. I was clouded a little bit by that. Where I think, yeah, like, obviously you're sitting happy now with Boomer. Now I've got to have a proper squad. I'm glad there's a free hit now coming, and then can go back to like normal mode in game week 35. But yeah, I think come game week 35, I'm look at my squad and think, wow, that's really poor. So yeah, a very frustrating week. Some of the things which is kind of like misfortune. Some things were just like mistakes I've made coming in.
But a green arrow. Celebrate all the green arrows, mate.
Well, just like and yeah, with a chip played as well. It's kind of like we're clutching at straws a little bit there, but yeah, like I said, green arrow.
Green arrow.
It's and now
green arrow.
hit. Well, but like spoiler, we're both playing the free hits, so we'll go for our free hit teams. That could be a chance to be exciting, or it could be a chance to, I don't know, be a bit template. I don't know, but like you'd imagine a green arrow. However,
Hopefully.
do you remember what happened last year?
Yeah, game week. Again, in fact, I'm pretty sure it was game week 29, if I'm not mistaken.
Was that where everyone got like 18 points
on a free hit? And within 10 minutes of the first game kicking off, one of who was the defender that got sent off, and he was on
Spurs
most
guy,
people's
not
free
Pollard,
hit.
was it? It was the other one, wasn't it? It was the
I can't think of his name. But I sent off straight in the, and as soon as that happened, you were like, right, okay, we're in trouble. So we're going to say just nobody returned. I think I got 12 points, if I'm not mistaken. But that's not going to happen this time round, mate.
Well,
not going to happen this time round.
I mean, before you reveal the teams, how are you feeling? Does it seem quite obvious, or do you reckon there's like lots of chances to have fun?
I tried to build a team without looking at Twitter, YouTube, whatever. I think there's certain teams you look at straight off the bat, right? So Newcastle playing Ipswich. So in reality, you're probably going to bring in 3. You look at Wolves playing Leicester, so you're probably going to bring in 2 of their players, maybe even 3. But then some of the fixtures, mate, like we were chatting about Matt versus Dave, and how hard it is to bring in a differential for this game week, and it's because like you've got Brighton versus West Ham. I don't really want any of their players. You've got Chelsea versus Everton. Doesn't excite me. So I think the first 5 or 6 with Salah pick themselves. And then I think the next 5 that you're going to play, there's maybe an opportunity to have a bit more fun. How did you find it?
Yeah, I think the sample size, well, the sample size is large because there's lots of good fixtures and there's lots of good players and lots of good teams. It's not like a game week where it's like, wow, these are boring games with boring players that are going to be 1-1, right? I can see some quite one-sided games there with good players.
Newcastle
Yeah, I
Wolves,
think I
maybe
think I think it's
Liverpool,
being
Fulham.
blends. It's like, are you going to pick these two players or from this team versus these two players from this team? So yeah, I think it's an interesting. I think there's a big selection of players that you can pick, which is really cool. And a lot of kind of like combinations. They're going to all be very similar types of combinations that we're going to make. I think logic would suggest that, but yeah, I think it's going to be quite swingy, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's see. Let's see what I appreciate you. This isn't live fully. This is just what you're playing with. No holds barred. If you don't go in with a, Robinson,
Yeah,
I'm not going to hold you to it. But here's your team at the minute.
yeah. Well, I think it's going to be a little bit different from this, but I think we can talk about some of the teams and fixtures that are relevant, right? So maybe it's worth just talking about like by position, what's the sample size and what we've got. So let's do it
Yeah.
back to front. Let's start with forwards, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So
What I found it interesting. Have you found me when you put this together? You've got too much money. If you can literally pick anyone and budget not be an issue.
yeah, that's cool though. I mean, like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's just the nature of the team is playing, right? So I think, and the fixtures, right? But it's yeah, like you said, it's been quite. Well, there's no Arsenal aren't playing, Man City aren't playing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of these premium assets won't be there. But yeah, I had the same thing for sure. But yeah, forwards, I've currently got Isak, Woods, and Cunha. Um, I think realistically, your sample is going to be those three, right? You're gonna, well, because Isak, everyone will have Isak because of Ipswich home, and I think he's the best striker in the league. Woods, I probably won't go that actually. I think that's quite a close game, and Forest like are in mixed form, but like Wood has been quality this year, and then I think Cunha will be in the majority of squads as well, given the
Yeah.
quality difference between Wolves and Leicester, and Leicester have been like the worst team for quite a while in the league, especially kind of away from home. So yeah, they're kind of nice. I think other players that you would consider would be Strand Larson. I think if
Yeah.
you're comparing, there's a case to say both of the players, both Cunha and Strand Larson, but like I think if you're doing a coin toss between both of them, you'd pick Cunha over Strand Larson, surely, right? Then I think you've got um, Pedro's off it. He's banned, isn't he? Pedro's out, so Welbeck becomes quite obvious and appealing. You'd assume to be
Yeah.
on penalties as well, given Pedro's banned, isn't he? So Brighton against home to West Ham isn't. It's not a great fixture, but I think Welbeck there's enough to consider. I think West Ham have been quite strong recently,
Yeah.
right? But defensively, sorry, but like they did concede against Southampton, of course. But yeah, I think Welbeck is a shout. I'm just going fixture for fixture.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've got Jimenez for Fulham. I don't think away to Southampton is great. I think like Wolves at home to Leicester is a far better fixture. But like yeah, kind of Jimenez will be part of the conversation. Evan Nilsson, of course, Bournemouth home to
Yeah.
Man United, who will probably be resting their team or be otherwise distracted and just like in terrible form anyway. I think is a nice game. And then yeah, Visa, I wouldn't go Visa for Brentford, obviously quality striker, but away to Forest is a tough game
Yeah.
for a couple
Absolutely.
of better ones.
Top
Will be
defense.
consideration. So yeah, I think there's like 5 or 6 viable strikers there. I mean, anyone I've missed in your opinion?
Yeah. I'm just looking at the so according to Fix, expected to score in terms of how many goals. Newcastle expected to score 3.1. So Isaac, as you say,
Hmm.
you're sticking him in the team. Second is Wolves with 2.3. So Cunha makes sense. Would you consider double up? So instead of Wood having also Strand Larson and Cunha.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, out of the three, I think Wood is the one who's I'm questioning a bit more whether it's Strand Larson, Welbeck, Evan Nelson. I mean, they're probably a little bit better than this. Was just me just doing it in like 2 minutes, just picking a
Yeah.
team. But like I reckon there's a conversation there, but like yeah, Strand Larson I think is worth worth a consideration for sure.
Well, Liverpool are third with 2.2. So Darwin Núñez,
Maybe.
Gakpo. Yeah. No, I think the main ones you've covered. To be honest with you, mate.
Oh, there's a risk that we cover
Fulham.
every. There's a lot of selections. What we're saying, there's some good players you mentioned there as well. So there's a good selection. I think at risk of
Yeah.
naming every single team and player, I think that's a decent list. But yeah, I've got Isaac, Wood, and Cunha. I think Isaac and Cunha will be in my squad for sure. Then it's like who's the
Yeah.
third one? The third one I might not even play, right? So I think I don't
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
don't
Play
have to
5 minutes.
overthink this a little bit. Then onto my
Yeah.
midfield, I've currently got Murphy, Luis Diaz, Mbumo, Palmer, and Salah. Right. So I think here I'm calling out good players as well as people who just have good fixtures, right? Which I think is kind of like important, right? So yeah, sample size, what I'd say Chelsea is Palmer or no one. I don't love Palmer, but I think it's probably a question he's too good not to ignore, right? Given Everton, not a great fixture, but it's a good fixture, and like Palmer's underlying stats are still very good, right? So I think,
Wow. On that, last six starts, expected goal involvement per 90 minutes of 0.71. So I
yeah,
know he's
really
not
good.
been delivering, but the stats are great. So
No,
yeah,
exactly.
he seems
It's
a solid
up to
pick.
you whether you trust that or whether you talk about things like he's low on confidence and stuff like that. Despite him
Mm.
playing as a winger more than a 10, he's still doing stuff. And Jackson's back, which I think helps, but hasn't helped recently. But you'd think it would help. So there's like I don't love going for Palmer, but I think there's a shout there. Brighton, West Ham. I don't think there's really any viable players. I think Bowen's a great player, but I think there's better options. Likewise, Matoma. Well, he's not as good, of course, compared to Bowen, but I don't think you want to go there. Newcastle, Ipswich. Um, I've got
So
Murphy in my squad at the moment. However, what I'd say is like you want minute certainty here. So I think
yeah.
it's about finding the optimal blend of your squad, right? So I think I want 3 Newcastle players, but whether it's a midfield in there or not, to be confirmed. I've got Murphy, but obviously there's Barnes um, and
Gordon.
Gordon will probably play, but it's like who does he play for and when and what are the minutes going to be and what not. So it's a tough one to pick who's the best option.
So on it, just for comparison, right? You know I love my expected goal involvement per 90. Over the last 6 games, Barnes 0.87, Murphy 0.85. So there's
Wow.
nothing between them. And what I like about Murphy is Davies got sent off last game week. Who would have been on Murphy's side? So he's playing against the second, like whoever their second left back is. So he could have and prior to Gordon's injury, it was
Yeah.
Murphy and Gordon playing.
Yeah. I
Can't
think
see
I
it.
think I think
Can't see Murphy
Barnes
dropping.
is the minutes threat for
Yeah,
Gordon. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, their best three is Murphy, Zach, Gordon. It's just like when does Murphy get subbed?
yeah.
Um,
Get that.
and also like a bit of a stupid way of picking. Like I've had in my squad recently, right? So it feels like nice maybe going somewhere else. But like yeah, I think Murphy's to pick out of the 3 midfielders that are
Yeah,
viable. I wouldn't go for Bruno or Tonali, Joe Linton as good as they are. But I think yeah,
no, no.
Murphy edges it. Southampton, Fulham. It's a tough one, really. Like people getting a bit blinded by Southampton. Southampton haven't been getting battered at all, especially at home recently. Since the new manager, they've been okay defensively, like seriously. So, and Fulham are not good at scoring goals. So people might want to go Iwobi, but I'm not convinced.
Yeah,
I'm not convinced there from an attacking point of view. Wolves, Leicester, I don't think there's any viable midfielders on that one really, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much. Bournemouth, Man United. I don't think Bruno is a guarantee. I don't think he's a guaranteed start on that one, nor do I want to go there. But from a Bournemouth
Europe.
point of view, yeah, Clivert or Semenyo are nice bets.
Yeah,
Are they going to have to get into the squad though? Maybe not. I don't know. It's a tough one to justify um, those Bournemouth players. Liverpool, Spurs. Don't think I'll go for any Spurs players. And then I've got Diaz and Salah in my squad. I think they're nice bets. Obviously, Salah's
playing
a
for the league now.
no, exactly. So I'm just thinking it's more like that occasion. I think it could be a hammering against Spurs as well, right? And then Diaz is low key had an incredible season with lots of points and whatnot. So
Recently, mate, he seems the man in the
no,
Liverpool attack. Salah's quieting down and Diaz is making the difference. And
It-
even he got benched. It's the last game week or the game week before, but when he came on, he made the difference. So
oh, exactly.
I see him starting.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing is like you don't really want a minutes risk. So like could Diaz become someone who's a bit more certain for minutes to be confirmed? And then Forest, no real viable midfielders, and Brentford is Mbeumo, right? And I think that's a case of quality over fixture, right?
Yeah.
I can't see myself having a squad without Mbeumo for the free hit. Like despite some of these other midfielders having better fixtures on paper. So yeah, I mean that's the midfield selection. Then defenders, I've
So
got.
I want to ask you a question on it.
Go
If
on, mate.
that is your front eight, who are you benching?
Oh, Wood easy.
Wood. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if I have Strand Larson would be benched. If I had a Bournemouth midfielder, I'd probably bench a Bournemouth midfielder there. But like, yeah, I think it's that's quite obvious
I'm just
on that
put a
one.
few together, and I'm looking at the 8 attackers and going, don't know who I'm benching. So yeah, just good to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, if I had Ed Nelson, I'd bench him. If I had Strand Larson, I'd benched him. If I had a Bournemouth midfielder, I'd bench them. So yeah, I think I think I'm along those lines. And then Mbeumo is like one of the best players in the league, really. So I think outside of FPL, really. So I think Forest will have to attack rather than just sitting back, right? Really, they need a win.
Hit on the break.
So I think it's a sort of game that's good for Mbeumo. Then defense, I've currently got Nori, which I feel is a non-negotiable. He's been excellent this year, especially since the manager change. He's going to be in my team and starting. Got Trippier, who I think is the best bet in the Newcastle defense, just because the options for free kicks and set pieces, right? Then I've got Sessegnon.
I was just going to say of all of the Newcastle defenders,
He's
had the most attempted assists. Just to clarify as well, according to Fix, the percentages for clean sheets, Wolves are top with 50%. Newcastle are second with 40. So they seem like two solid starts.
No, spot on. And I think those two would be attacking potential for both them and the defensive returns. Really happy with them. I think they'd be a majority of people's squads. Sessegnon's the interesting one. He's been playing as a winger for Fulham, so it's a nice option for attacking returns. There could be a risk that he's a minutes risk with Wilson, who's back now. I might go there, play the risk. Why not? I don't think he's not going to play as a defender. Yeah, he's been playing well as well recently, so I might go there as the risk for Sessegnon. Got Robinson and Nico Williams as well as defenders. I think there's a whole suite of defenders who could be nice. You could go for a Chelsea defender. They're a bit boring. If I'm being honest, you could go Cucurella. You could go Estupiñán from Brighton. Newcastle have a whole list of defenders, right? But Trippier is the best one. Fulham, Robinson, and Sessegnon are the best ones. Wolves, everyone's going to have Nori. Agadou might be another option, but again, what's the point? You're not really going to start them. Bournemouth, I don't think are really viable. People might go Van Dijk or Trent. I don't think Trent is guaranteed to start, so I think that's a problem. So I think if he was, it'd be an interesting option, but I don't think he's guaranteed to start. And then Forest Brentford, I don't think you really realistically start any defenders there. So it kind of picks itself that sample size. And then similar story to the keepers, really. So it's take your blend of good defenders and good keepers to kind of enter those squads. I think the issue with Wolves and Leicester home is nice because Leicester have been so bad. They haven't scored a goal for until last week. They haven't scored for months, right? Sar's potentially injured, right? So if you want to have Cunha in that Nori or Strand Larsen, it's difficult to go there with certainty. If you did have just one starting play elsewhere in your squad, right, you'd have Sar, and who's the backup? What's his name?
Bentley, is it?
Yeah. So you'd go both of them, but it's a bit risky now. If there's news that Sar's definitely starting, I'd be keen to go there. I've got Alisson Becker. Yeah, I've got Alisson Becker now, but equally could go Chelsea keeper. again, it's the same problem with the Chelsea keepers, right? Who starts, but if you're on free hit, you can go both them. Why not? Pope, there's a shout for Pope. I think that's it, really. Like, yeah, I think it's kind of like it's the Chelsea keepers, Allison, Sarr / Bentley from Wolves, or Pope.
Yeah. I think Pope. I'd like Pope, but the problem is he's my fourth Newcastle pick. I've got the same three as you, spoilers, but so it's difficult to
I think
fit him in.
the one I'd sacrifice is probably Murphy there, because I think there's a lot of interesting
Midfielders.
midfield options, right? So, like Murphy on my squad could easily be Semenyo. He could be Cliver. He could become loads of players. Essentially, I think there's probably slightly less options in defence. But I think that's my squad. So I think kind of like the players that are nailed are Cunha, Isak, Salah. I don't love Palmer and Bumo, but Palmer and Bumo. I think they'll be nailed. Aït-Nouri, Trippier, Sessegnon, and then that's it. Then it's like I'm talking about my subs and my kind of final attackers and my keeper, really.
There's still 8 there, 8 locks, and then play around with the other 3 starters.
Yeah, exactly. Unless I have a huge change of mind, but I think Palmer and Bumo are too good not to go there. They don't have the best fixtures, but there's going to be some squads that are just going to be loaded on players like Iwobi and stuff. I don't feel I have any desire. Like some people are like, oh, you have to have 3 players from each team playing the relegated teams. I have no desire to force that.
Yeah. I'll get ready to see mine and see what I've done. No, I haven't. It's Sessegnon, by the way. If he starts, he's had 3 in a row based on injuries. There's obviously a gamble on minutes. The stat I love: expected goal involvement per 90 for a defender. By the way, £4.1 million defender, 0.7 over the last 6 game weeks.
No, exactly, and like the thing is, he's returned as well. He's scored against Liverpool. He assisted against Chelsea, right? So it's not like he's not been doing anything, right? So
it's that minutes risk. It's whether you wait for the update and see how Wilson's
I think the update's been it's happened. We're talking Thursday night.
How's it been?
I think it was like Wilson is fit again and he'll get minutes. But that could be as a sub, which could work in Sessegnon's favour, right? If he's subbed early.
I get the clean sheet. Yeah.
It's like, can you risk it that he's going to get subbed at 58 minutes?
Nah. I think I've got him in my squad. I'll show you mine in a second. But I like
the squad is a squad. Is he starting for you though? Is there?
Yeah.
I think you got to go there, and it's just like no. Oh, okay.
He's not starting for me. He's not starting for me at the minute. I'll show you my squad in a sec. But he's not. He'd be on the bench.
Go on, mate. Go on, reveal it. I'm intrigued.
Reveal. But I like your team, mate. I like it. I'll talk through mainly the differences, right? Because I don't think there's too many. But there's mine. I've struggled to pick a goalkeeper. It's Allison at the minute, but you know the expected clean sheet odds. Liverpool are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. They are 6th. I'm not a fan of having Allison and Virgil, if either. To be honest with you, so they've just kind of plugged the gap for the time being. I'd start Becker if this was my squad, but I'm looking. I'd love Pope. If I can guarantee myself the Wolves keeper, I might go there, but I'm not going to drop Aït-Nouri or Cunha to double it, so I'll probably stay away from that. But the keeper will change.
Get Sarr, wouldn't you? You could get just Sarr and then bench Allison.
Oh yeah, I could do it that way, and then on the hope that that's my cover. I could do it that way, definitely. Even at the minute, mate, Van Dijk could potentially be on the bench. I brought Van Dijk in purely for 2 reasons. Number 1, I'm a Liverpool fan. And number 2, going for the league. Liverpool win that game. They're not going to want to draw it to win the league, right? They're going to want to win that game to win the league. And what he did against West Ham in the last home game, came up for the corner, got the goal. He just seems like the type of player that'll score to help Liverpool win the league. That said, Aït-Nouri and Trippier we've spoke about, so I'll be starting them 2, no question. And at the minute, out of that back five, I'd probably start Cucurella. Everton's, it's well documented. Everton's attack's not great. Cucurella's the best attacking option from the Chelsea defenders. And I just think that there's more chance Chelsea keep a clean sheet at home to Everton than Liverpool do at home to Tottenham. So I'd probably start Cucurella.
You be starting with Becker in goal, and you'd start in defence would be Cucurella, Trippier, and Aït-Nouri.
Correct. That's where I'd be presently.
What's the point of having Sessegnon then?
Cheap option on the bench. I need somebody to be on the bench.
Yeah, fair enough.
So cheap option, just to get the money elsewhere.
So you spent all your money in this squad?
No, I've got 0.6 million in the bank.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so still my front three are the same as your front three. What I wouldn't mind potentially playing with the idea of is dropping Wood. Might consider bringing in Evan Nielsen.
Yeah.
I might consider the double Wolves attack. Just think that's potentially better. But I've gone for Kluivert, mate. I'm a fan of having Kluivert. I think the United defense isn't great. He's got pens. Helps the structure of a team having him over Evan Nielsen. As far as I'm aware, he's the penalty taker, is he not? When everybody was fit, he was the penalty taker, definitely.
Was he? We've had Evan Nielsen playing as well.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware. I might be wrong on that. Somebody put in the comments if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure when everybody was fit at the beginning of the season, remember when he got his hat trick early doors, Evan Nielsen was definitely playing.
I'm not sure.
And he scored 2 pens.
Oh, maybe you're right.
You look that up. You look that up whilst I carry on chatting about the team. But I'm pretty sure, mate. Pretty sure he's the pen taker. So I like him for that option. I think, as you say, United will probably rest some players ahead of the European fixture because they're not playing for anything in the league. Whereas Bournemouth have an outside chance of Europe. So I just like having one of their attackers in, not so much their defence, but having at least one of their attackers. And Kluivert suits it could quite easily make Wood Evan Nielsen and Kluivert somebody else. But then the same as you, Palmer. Stats are still there. And there's gonna be a game with Palmer where he bangs, right? There's gonna be one where he gets 2-3 attacker returns, and it could, do you remember last season when he played Everton at home? He scored 4, so this could quite easily be the game.
Yeah, no,
So
you're right. You're right.
He's a pen taker, right? I thought he was. So I think he's a decent pick for that reason. Murphy versus Barnes we spoke about. I prefer Murphy for the minutes, and the expected output is pretty much identical. Just think he'll get more minutes. But I'm now in the same position. The reason I asked you the question, mate, I look at that front eight and I'm like, who do I bench? And at the minute, I'd probably bench Bowen.
Yeah, I'm shocked you don't have Mbeumo.
Go on. I'm glad you brought it up. The guy's just smashed in 18 points for me and give me one of the greatest game weeks I've had all season, and I've got rid of him. You know what it is? There's a reason I own Dana in game week 1. I am a big fan of the Forest defence, especially at home.
Yeah, but
fighting for top 4.
It's not the case anymore, though, is it? It's like that's old news.
They started conceding loads. It's they look good against.
Let's go through expected goals conceded for Cells. Yeah, last week 2.14, 1.36 versus Everton, 3.3 against Villa, 1.63 versus Manchester United. Then it gets a bit better. Yeah, 0.42 against Ipswich, 0.86 against City, 0.99 against Arsenal, 3.5 against Newcastle, 2.18 against Fulham, 1.7 versus Bournemouth. So it's not them being rock solid is not being the case in the second half of the season. Those aren't great teams.
Yeah, and I suppose that's why you look at the league table and they've dropped, and I think they're back in third now, are they? After they won at the week, they won on Monday, was it? But there's from pretty much you might even catch Arsenal to you might not even finish in the top 5. I suppose I think you might be talking me into Bowen out and Mbeumo back in.
Like who are comparable teams to Brentford in terms of how they play, right? I don't think it's Man City or Arsenal. Those are bad examples, right? But I'd say Villa, Spurs, Newcastle, they all play in a somewhat similar style, I would say.
What did you say it was against Spurs? Expected goals conceded
Well, literally like a couple of days
last
ago,
game.
2.14, and they had 10 men.
2.14.
No, they didn't.
Yeah,
They didn't.
yeah.
Oh, they did, didn't they? Yeah. Was it? Am I making that up?
I think somebody got. Did they not? I don't know. I'll have to look that up. I was. I don't even know what I was doing on Monday. Not watching that game clearly. So,
Let me
uh,
see. I swear there was a red card in that game.
yeah, you might be talking me into it. Me Bowen out and Bumo in.
No,
Start and
there was a
Bumo.
red card, but
But if I start in Bumo, then
you'd bench
it's
Wood in
Wood.
that
I'd
instance.
bench Wood over Clivert personally. I like Clivert as a pick this week. He's pretty my locks. So looking at this, my locks: Ain't Nori, Trippier, probably Cucurella. I think that'd be my starting. I'll be surprised if that isn't my starting three defenders. If I get news that Trent's going to start, I'd probably bring Trent in.
Yeah, same.
But otherwise, it's an Ain't Nori, Trippier, Cucurella. Clivert's a lock. I'm with you. I think Palmer is Salah, and I'm going to lock in Murphy. I'm pretty sure that apart from maybe Bowen to Embuemo and then whatever I do with Wood, the other six in that front eight are locks. They're not going anywhere.
So we've all got same squads then. In the end, it will be
It's like last season.
who our goalkeepers are and who our third defender is, and if they get goals or do they get subbed, is going to be what decides it.
And it'd be what? Clivert against maybe Diaz, potentially.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know
going
if
to be.
you
Yeah,
keep Diaz, of course.
I think it's like there's a natural squad of like 9 or 10 players that most people are going to head towards.
This is the problem.
Unfortunately,
As soon as you've got Newcastle at home to Ipswich, Wolves are home to Leicester, and they're two teams near the top of the fixture ticker. Sorry, not the fixture ticker, the form table. You bring it in. There's 5 or 6 pretty much set. Then you're not going to lose Salah, so there's 7. And realistically, you want Palmer, so there's 8. So yeah, it's then the 3 around that, right?
it's
Your
all. Yeah,
goalie,
like I'm actually looking at my latest team that I've kind of saved on the FPL site, and it's so is Sarr in goal, Sarr and Ariola, Livermento, Trippier, Eight Nori, Robinson, Estupinan, Clivert, Semenyo, and Bumo, Salah, Palmer, Isaac, Wood, Cunha. So it's like 10 or 11 locks, and then just like playing around the mark with your bench players and like your starting keeper. It's good. It's going to be pretty, like if a keeper gets an assist or like dare I say like a penalty save, it's going to be mad, isn't it? Like the swings.
that's what we want. We want pen saves. That's Pope saved me that game week when he saved the pen. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so similar. Me, couple as I say, couple of differentials that I'll start Cucurella and Clivert, but other than that, it's
I think it's quite weak
very
content,
similar.
isn't it? So, sorry for everyone watching and listening. Like we're stating the
But
obvious.
the main content is there's the former world number ones, and over the last 10 years, top 5 point scorer in FPL. There's his free hit team. So there's the news. That's all. That's what they're
Right.
here for. That's the content they want.
I reckon stick to algorithms and plugging it in. I'm pretty sure if you put in like a predictor tool, you'd get something
It'd
very
be
similar.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then they don't get to listen to us. But
You should listen
something
to them.
that
I bet they would have said keep Mbumo on a game week 30 wild card.
you reckon.
That's probably the sort of bias that's the sort of bias that those things would
Could see
eliminate.
it. Definitely see it.
Right. More
Something
great
that
content
might.
and controversy. Captaincy.
No, that's it. So the captaincy, there is a little bit of a choice, probably between 2 players, mate. Let's be honest. Salah is expected points according to Fix atop with 8.7 with his home game to Tottenham.
Yep.
And then Isaac with 7 compared to Salah's 8.7, and he's at home to Ipswich. And I mean, people might be tempted if you're chasing to go Cunha. He's expected 6.6 at home to Leicester, but it's realistically one of them 3, right? What are you thinking?
Yes, I think everyone will go Salah shortly. Yeah.
I think so. I think that's as far as it's going to go. Going for the league, he's gonna want to be at it. He's top goal scorer, top assister in the division. His underlying stats are still really looking not as good as they were in all fairness, but still looking decent. If you're chasing, would you be tempted to go Isaac or Cunha instead?
No. I think it's points above everything, right? There's nothing about chasing. It's just like who do you think will score the most points?
Yeah.
Us
So you don't want to do
us picking Saka last week was not as captain over Marmoush, wasn't chasing. It was just like, yes, he's less owned, but we thought he'd score more points. Well, that's nothing to do with chasing. I don't buy into that sort of like chasing stuff.
you don't want to Chris win it. He's very much that's going to be in our dictionary of FPL Apprentice, doing a Chris win, chasing it. So we'll stay away from that. Just go Salah. Salah it is. Yeah, I think I'm with you. I'm on Salah, vice captain on Isaac. Would be where I'll be. I'm just looking at the defense data, just to add some form of content to it. Tottenham's defense is better than Ipswich's and Leicester's. I take it for you that doesn't matter. You'll still go Salah.
Yeah, well, Liverpool, you'd think are better than Wolves, right?
Just.
Yeah.
Maybe just. But yeah, Isaac versus Salah then.
Salah is
Yeah.
out of form though, right? Salah hasn't been brilliant. Like I think that's the.
He needs a pen. That's what he needs. Let's hope he gets one. But yeah, so Salah's
how
the
many
pick.
pens has he scored this year?
Good question. Fair few.
I
Couldn't tell you the exact number.
I bet without pens he wouldn't even be non-pens. He's probably not even the top goal scorer.
If you take everybody's pens off them.
No,
what it could be.
Maybe
not. I don't think he'll drop this many. Wissa. Palmer's scored a few pens, has he not? Wissa's on 16 goals, non-penalty taker.
That's impressive, right?
Yeah, he's done for Brentford as well, by the way. I know Brentford are a decent side, but you don't expect.
Yeah, literally, he's non-penalty goals. Haaland with 19, Isak with 19, Salah with 18, Chris Wood with 16, Visser 16, Cunha 14, and Bumo 13. He's a pen merchant.
Nah, I'll take him. We'll take him. Get those pens.
Wow, he's had 9 penalties.
9 pen goals, which is a third of his goals.
And then free bonus then when he gets that pen.
So what you need to do here, listener?
The function of being an attacking team, though, right? And I'm sure quite a lot of the penalties he kind of wins himself through good plays.
Yeah, and to be fair, he's also got how many assists? 15, something like that, which is way more than anybody else in the game. Yeah. So for anybody that's listening, Matt is guaranteeing Captain Salah, and he will 100% get a penalty. That's basically what's been said. So we'll move on.
That's what you need.
We'll move on to Matt versus Dave. Probably another reason I'm fairly happy. Trossard did for me what Harvey Barnes did for you. So game week 33, Rice with an assist, 8 points in total. Marino with an assist, got 4 points in total as he didn't play the second game. So 11 points for you, but two players with returns. KDB didn't get me any returns, although he did get 2 bonus points, interestingly, so that took him up to 6. But Trossard with 2 goals in the first game and a goal in the second, 24 in total, taking me to 30. Means it's 30 in all, mate. 30 in all with 5 game weeks to go.
That was the captaincy option and just staring right in front of us. It was Trossard.
Trossard over Saka. And imagine the difference that would have made. I've seen it. I've seen there's a couple of one person in my leagues who captained Trossard. Fair play to him.
Are they any good?
Not an FPL. His name, just in case he listens, his name's Gary Frierson, and he's not very good at Premier League FPL. But he did win a fair chunk of money playing the Telegraph FPL. So he clearly doesn't get the rules of Premier League FPL. Hope you're listening, Gary. Hope you're well, pal. But 13 each. Game week 34 picks. You to pick first.
Yeah, well, we text each other around our picks. I think I've missed the obvious one. I was just struggling to find. I don't know whether it's because FreeHit teams have been activated and whatnot, but wow, there's a real lack of options on the 5% ownership. So
yeah,
I've gone Sessegnon. That's my first option.
Sessegnon. Sessignon. Hey, mate, 5 returns in 303 minutes, by the way. So basically 1 return every 60 minutes since he's been playing.
Exactly. Which coincidentally, that's what he's going to get. 61 minutes.
Yeah. So 1 return might be enough for you.
I'll take. I'll take.
Harvey, when I prepped for this, Harvey Barnes was 4.8% owned. Unfortunately, now he's over 5%. So he's off the table. It means I'm going for what you think is the obvious pick. Evan Nielsen, 4.7% owned at home to Man United. He scored 4 in his last 6. And yeah, as we spoke about before, I think United will probably rest some players. So
he's gone up to
go with him.
4.9%. So lock it in before.
I'm in 4.9, locked in. Evan Nielsen, done.
Yeah, I'm shocked that he's actually under 5%. But he's come back from an injury, didn't he, in game week 29 or something like that. So
yeah,
I get it. Yeah, I think it's slim pickings now, really. So we're going to go back to an old friend that we've used a lot of weeks on the go, Bruno. So
Bruno Guimaraes, you're home to Ipswich.
Yeah.
Pops up with goals. Pops up with goals.
Yeah,
and usually, I'm going to attack the same fixture, mate, because there's little else. There's nobody at Wolves that's under 5%. I'd have for their home to Leicester game. Strand Larson and Cunha both over that 5% threshold. But I'm not going to go for Joel Linton.
Ooh.
I'm going to go for Tonali. Tonali is 0.8% owned. And the reason I'm going for him is he has 3 returns in his last 5 games. So I'm assuming he's getting forward a little bit more than Joel Linton is. So yeah, that's where I'm going to go.
I mean, his stats don't say it, mate, but
I'm concentrating on what's he been putting in the net.
It's like
so
0.06, 0.06, 0.3, 0.1, 0.07, 0.04, 0.01, 0.0.
What's Joel Linton's out of interest?
They're going to be a bit better, aren't they? I think his aren't great either.
No, I think Bruno's the pick for the sub 5% owned Newcastle players. But yeah, I'll go Tonali, take the gamble, and just hope Evan Nielsen scores a brace. That's where I'm sat. So yeah, Evan Nielsen, Tonali for me, Sessignon and Bruno Guimaraes for you. Really difficult in a blank game week to pick them, but we'll see who takes the lead, and that brings us to the end. So yeah, thank you to you, Matt, for joining us. Are you excited to? You mentioned before you're quite happy to get a free hit on the table.
Yeah, I don't want to look at my current squad, that broken game week 33 squad. So yeah, kind of like the free hit is exciting. I think there's going to be a conversion between what teams look like. I think that's natural. That's fine. I'm not going to force it.
Fight it.
No,
yeah, exactly. I suppose the teams are the same because they're the sensible picks, I guess. Just need to hope there's people ahead of us, mate, that aren't playing, that have used their free hit already.
Yeah, I don't know when they would use it though.
Yeah, me neither. I'm just hoping. That's why it's hope, but hope only.
Yeah, I'm hoping if I get a couple of returns, I'm happy, given like how shocking it was in previous years.
Yeah. As soon as Nori gets sent off in the 7th minute, just expect 15 points max.
Oh yeah.
But no, Brent,
you excited about it?
Yeah, quite looking forward to it. I like, I'll have the same first 8 players that everybody else has, but I think those 3 around the edge. So at the minute, my Kluivert and my Cucurella. Cucurella's a bit boring, if I'm honest, but if Chelsea can keep a clean sheet, there's a couple of things, a couple of differentials that I like the look of that I can put in. I don't know whether I can class Kluivert as a differential, but
I reckon
how popular he is.
Fairly well owned, and I think Bournemouth midfield.
Yeah, that's it. So you just let's just play the safe game. Hopefully it brings in another green, and then 35, 36, 37, 38, 4 game weeks left. My job then is, mate, to work out where the assistant manager goes from 35 onwards.
Yeah,
Need to wait for the FA Cup.
Very jealous.
Wait for the we need to wait for the FA Cup to be done, and then see if there's a double that comes on the back of it. And then obviously that'll really help me understand where I go, and I need to think about where I get the budget from to afford the manager. So who are we going to downgrade? But that should be doable, man. Because after the bench boost, I've got all playing players. I could quite easily just get rid of one to bench fodder and make some money back. So yeah, quite. The 1 week has give me a bit of joy back. So we'll see how the rest of the season goes.
Good, mate. Well, best of luck. I mean
And to
that
you, and to
wholeheartedly.
you.
I think we're going to have very similar teams, so best of luck for all the players that we co-own.
Absolutely. And then even more luck to Clive there, right? See if we can catch up. But no, appreciate your time, Baz. Thank you very much for joining us. We are on nearly that 950 subscriber mark, which is pretty cool. So hopefully we'll get there after this video. But yeah, appreciate your time, mate. Always a pleasure to chat to you. And I'll catch up with you next week ahead of game week 35, nearly the end of the season.
Thank you, my friend.
If I'm not drunk still from Sunday after Liverpool win the league. But to you, the listener, thank you for joining us. Appreciate your time. Whatever you decide to do, whether you're playing your free hit or not, hopefully we'll help you out. If we have, please do give us a like, give us a subscribe if you haven't. It does help us out. It's free to do, and it's just pretty cool. So we'd really appreciate if you do that. But whatever you do, may your arrows be green. We'll see you next week.